Hello everybody, I'm Roxy and this is a very tropical edition of Rugby BS. So in case you didn't notice, I changed the name of the channel from Rugby BS to Rugby Books and stuff. It's just I wanted to make it a little bit clearer that this was a bookish channel, but I still wanted to keep the BS. So it actually turned out quite well because I was thinking BS, oh, books and stuff. Anyways, this is a very special book haul because as you can see I'm in a different location and it's because I'm in a hotel in Rio de Janeiro. I'm actually staying at Copacabana, so I'm like the beach is right outside, which is amazing. And you might be saying, but hey, do you actually buy books there? And yes, I went to 3 bookstores. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the first one, which is like Savaria, Saravia, or something like that. I'm going to link the 3 of them down below, so don't be worried. Travessa and Cultura. The 3 of them are absolutely amazing. Travessa has a great section of classics. It has a lot of Penguin and Vintage and Wordsworth classics, which is then the second one, Savaria, Saravia, whatever that name is. It has actually a narrow selection, but it's like very varied. Within that, you can find a lot of like really recent books, such as Turtles All the Way Down. Yeah, like the new John Green book to like classics, and they have like those Barnes and Noble beautiful leather-bound editions, which I think is pretty cool. Then Libraria Cultura is the biggest one and has a wider selection, and what's really cool about it is that the books, except for fiction, all the other books are like mixed within the Portuguese books. Like for example, if you go to religion, you like found all the books on religion in all the languages they carry. So there are some books in Spanish, in French, and mostly Portuguese and English, which is quite cool. So let's get on with the book haul. By the way, I'm going to start linking all the books I mentioned down below to the Goodreads page, so you can add them in case you're interested, just because I find that super helpful when other booktubes do that, and I thought, hey, I should do it too. So the first one is The Penguin Book of the British Short Story, Volume 2, from P.G. Wodehouse to Zadie Smith. Like, I wanted to get the hardback copies because I thought they were gorgeous. However, they are a bit impractical. This is much more manageable. I feel I can take it to several places, and I like that. Winter is Coming, The Medieval World of Game of Thrones by Caroline Larrington, and it's exactly what it says. So a lot of people get really pissed off when you talk about Game of Thrones being historical fiction, which is not really, but it does take a lot of inspiration from history, and you can't not deny that. So this book talks about the main points of history in Game of Thrones. Then I have The Fates and the Furies by Lauren Groff, this beautiful big paperback, which was also quite affordable. Here's the thing, this was really popular like 4 years ago or so, when I wasn't even on BookTube. And it's about like a marriage that has been together for a long time, and it's told in 2 perspectives. And they say it's kind of slow, but slow works for me totally because I like character studies that are really intense and where the stakes are really high. I might really enjoy this. I've heard very like mixed reviews, people loving it or hating it, but I think I'm going to really enjoy it. Then I have A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. I've never read any Stephen Hawking. I think it's time to change that. And I started reading this, and it was relatively approachable. I mean, I think this is like for the public. It's not like a scientific paper. And also the edition was cheap and beautiful, and I thought, okay, let's start with this. Then I have Brooklyn by Comte Tobin. I haven't read any Comte Tobin yet, but I listened to the Penguin UK book podcast, which is great. I'm going to link it down below. I'm in love with it, believe me. And they read a bit of this, and aside from confirming that audiobooks aren't really my thing, I really enjoy this. I think this might be something like right up my alley. It's about her, who's an Irish girl coming to Brooklyn to live and try to make something out of herself. And it's like an immigrant story, but it's also like very nicely written. It's historical fiction, and I think I might just love this. So yeah. Then I have this very, very, very affordable Wordsworth edition of Night and Day and Jacob Rooms by Virginia Woolf. So I own Orlando, Mrs. Dalloway, of course, because I read it, and The Voyage Out by her, and I'm trying to get hold of like all her bibliography, which is ridiculous because at the same time I don't have that much time to read like all her bibliography, but I'm fascinated by her, and everything I've read from her so far I have completely adored. So yeah. Complete poetry of Oscar Wilde. So Oscar Wilde wasn't necessarily the greatest poet who ever lived, but I still love him, and in my mind and in my soul he can do no wrong, and I really needed like a collection of all his poems. I've only read the Ballad of Reading Gaol, which by the way I pronounced as Gale for like so long. It was so embarrassing. It's caught on video. Oh my god, kill me now. But yeah, the Ballad of Reading Gaol and a couple of others. But overall, I haven't read any. It's supposed to have like a lot of Christian religious references because, you know, Wilde's parents were Protestant and he flirted with Catholicism while in Oxford, ultimately to just like be godless. Although when he died, he asked to be baptized. So yeah, he's a very interesting character. You know, I love him. He's one of my favorite authors. So I obviously had to get this. In the same beautiful Wordsworth edition, which actually I didn't know this existed, but the Wordsworth Poetry Library is much prettier than like the regular one, which I get because basically it's very affordable. But this one is really, really pretty, and this is the complete poems of John Keats. I love Keats. I really, really do. I don't know if he's my favorite romantic poet. He does have some competition, but he's pretty great. So yeah. Then I have Hot Milk by Deborah Levi. So this was nominated and a finalist for the Man Booker Prize, but I actually got it because it was shortlisted for the Goldsmith Prize. I don't know when, honestly, but I'm trying to get through a lot of the Goldsmith Prize nominees, and you will know because I'm going to talk about this project in December. But yeah, I'm doing something with those, so I'm trying to collect them and of course read them. So far I've read like 2, so yeah, but I'm trying. Anyways, this is about like a journalist, I think, anthropologist, so nothing like I was saying. Okay, let me just read this. Sophia, a young anthropologist, has spent much of her life trying to solve the mystery of her mother's unexplainable illness. She is frustrated with Rose and her constant complaints, but utterly relieved to be called to abandon her own disappointing, fledgling adult life. So, of course, there's more, but I think that's enough to hook you. I think this might be like super interesting, especially because it was nominated for like an experimental fiction award. So it's supposed to be quite experimental. Let's see how it measures up. Then I have, yes, I'm that basic, Hamilton by Ron Chernow. So yeah, I listened to the musical like when it came out, and yes, I loved it, and yes, I've been wanting to get this since I listened to that. And I'm sorry, sue me, but I really, really enjoyed it. And so why didn't I get this sooner? It was expensive. I couldn't decide if I wanted a paperback or a hardback. And then when I went to London, it wasn't like on a shelf anywhere. I mean, I can get why, you know, but I didn't like run into it. And I don't know, I guess I wanted an excuse. And today I saw it on the like politics shelf, and I was like, I'm gonna get this. And I checked the price, like, but even if it had been super expensive, which it wasn't, I would have gotten it because I really, really wanted it. And it comes with pictures, great. So yeah, it's a chunkster. I'm going to read it anyways. I love it. Kafka on the Shore. So I totally thought my second book by Murakami was going to be fiction, by the way. You know this. was going to be the Wind Up Bird Chronicles, because it's actually like on my to buy list for next month. However, I've been eyeing this in this exact edition for a while, and it's one of my best friend's favorite Murakami books. And also, it was recommended for one of the saleswomen in the store. It was really freaky. I was just like browsing the English section, and she approached me and she was like, "Are you looking for something?" Of course, in Portuguese. But one of the very cool things about Spanish and Brazilian Portuguese, at least, is that if you speak really slowly, you can actually communicate quite successfully. So we started talking, and she started recommending books, most of which I had read. All of them, except this one. And she said she really liked this one. And it was like a little bit of fate. And she also likes quite a lot my favorite Chilean author, which is Alejandro Zambra, The Penguin Book of Modern Speeches, edited by Brian MacArthur. So that is what it is. It's speeches. I really am fascinated with public speaking. I have a beautiful edition of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, of course. I like these editions and want to get the Picture of Dorian Gray in these editions back at home because they have it, and possibly Huckleberry Finn in this edition too. I remember reading Tom Sawyer when I was really young and loving it so much that actually I went to sleep because I had school that day, but I really wanted to finish it because I was so fascinated by it. And so I woke up at like 2 o'clock, which, you know, for a like 10-year-old girl is amazing. And I finished the book. And so yeah, that was like the Spanish school adapted version. I wanted like the original deal in English. And so yeah. And finally, please don't judge me, but I have been on the fence with this one for such a long time, and I finally saw it, and it was cheap, and I thought, what the hell, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. So here's the thing. So this is a book about like an aristocrat guy who is bisexual and might or might not be in love with his best friend, and they go like in a journey through Europe, and they may fall in love, and there are pirates involved, and it sounds tacky, it does, but it's like it's just wild-esque characters gallivanting through Europe. I just cannot resist. Yeah, I'm not going to feel guilty for this pleasure, guys. I do. So that's it. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Comment the link to the videos in Spanish and some videos mentioned are all in here. The books and the bookstores that I mentioned here are all down below, including my social media. Bye. See you next time. It's amazing. Then the second one. So so let's get on with it.